Welcome back to Humans in 5.
This week, we're reporting a new record in our planet's history. Every year, the extent of sea ice in the Arctic Ocean is measured and tallied. Sea ice plays a big role in global climate patterns. A large amount of sea ice helps to keep the Arctic cool and helps to reflect some of the sun's warming rays back into the atmosphere to minimize how much the sun warms the Earth.
However, sea ice levels have been falling dramatically over recent years. This year, scientists have found that the sea ice has reached a record low level. The amount of sea ice present this year is 14.4% of what it typically was in past years.
This decrease in the sea ice reflects both a change in global temperatures, leading to more melting ice, but also means that Arctic regions are less able to reflect the sun's warmth back into the atmosphere, allowing global temperatures to continue to rise at a faster rate.
These changes are hugely important to our planet, but how can we tell how much sea ice is present? The Arctic is a huge area, so researchers can't just walk around and take a look at huge geographic features like sea ice. Today, we're going to talk a little bit more about the tools researchers have available to look at the Earth from afar.
The technologies that we use to look at large landscape changes like sea ice extent are called remote sensing technologies. They use various tools to help researchers get a literal bird's eye view, as it's difficult to get the whole picture from the ground.
Remote sensing has its roots in the history of flight. Before people could get themselves off the ground, the idea of taking broad-scale photos and images from a great height was out of reach. However, after the invention of the hot air balloon, balloonist Gaspard Félix Tournachon took photographs of Paris from high above, starting the field of aerial photography.
Aerial photography changed and evolved as the field of aviation changed and evolved. Aerial photography was systematically used during World War I, as pilots would take photographs from high above for reconnaissance and surveillance. Aerial photography for military purposes continued to evolve until the Cold War, when these photos were increasingly used for scientific purposes. More detailed maps could be made using the images collected from airplanes and could be used in land planning or to document and track large-scale environmental events.
Aerial photography continued to develop until plane-based photography was gradually replaced by satellites. Satellites were able to dramatically increase the scale of landscape tracking and study, as images could be examined on a global scale. Researchers could now track images of land, sea, and weather on global and continental scales. By sending satellites off into space, we are now also able to track the surfaces of other planets as well, increasing our knowledge of our own world and our planetary neighbours.
Photographic technologies have also dramatically increased, allowing the resolution of these images to reach an incredibly fine scale. Satellites are now also equipped with a range of other technologies that can give us a better sense of our Earth from above. Researchers can also look at topography or terrain, meteorology, and even whether cars on the highways are driving a little too far above the speed limit.
While these sky-based technologies are getting more and more sophisticated, smaller tools like drones continue to allow us to keep an eye on smaller scale landscapes with low costs and without the need to use incredibly advanced technologies that are now circling our Earth.
These remote sensing technologies help us figure out how much sea ice we have from year to year, but also have a huge range of environmental and social applications. We can also look at things like rainforest extent and deforestation, as well as other indicators of changing climates. We can also look at the evolution of cities to see how they've grown over time. Archaeologists may use remote sensing to look at landscape features like geoglyphs or large designs made on the ground in their entirety.
So the next time you look up at the sky, think about all those satellites and planes whizzing around up there, helping us to learn a little bit more about the planet we call home.
Thanks for watching this week. Remember to subscribe to our channel, and we'll see you next time on Humans in 5.
See you then!